Hi guys, it's Elle. I hope everyone's enjoying their coronacation. By the time you'll be seeing this, it'll be March 30th, Monday. And for this class, we've all been assigned to read the second chapter in Privilege by Khan. So if you want to go ahead and grab this book, there's going to be some page references if you just want to look at those. Also, I highly recommend between every question, you guys pause the video and answer the question. Really think about it. I know this chapter definitely made me think a lot, so I'm excited to hear what you guys are going to say. So one of the big points that Khan starts with in this chapter is hierarchy amongst students. And he talks about how it's based on seniority at the school. And so the older you are, the higher you move up in grade until graduation, the higher you are in the status chamber, if you will. So I want you guys at this point to pause the video and think about, have you seen hierarchy or the sense of going up, rather, a social ladder in your schooling experience, whether it be high school, middle school, or I know a lot of you guys are future teachers in practicum. Have you seen this amongst students? For me, I would say absolutely. A big one that I saw was within marching band. I did marching band, and there was a big thing for when you became a senior. There was more leadership opportunities, and it was a definite sense of hierarchy. After Khan talks about hierarchy, he takes the time to talk about the staff, or rather the invisibility of the staff at the school. I want you to take a moment. You don't have to write it down. But how many people at UMW, how many of the staff do you know the names of and know something about their personal life outside of the fact that they work here? It's okay if it's not a lot. I personally find that across the board, it doesn't just apply to the private school, to the rich school. Why do you think that is? I'll give you a second to pause here. What I think is people don't necessarily take the time to get to know people that are in service work or that are staff at the school because they're there doing a job rather than the students, and I feel like people think there's some kind of disconnect there, when really they spend just as much time, if not more, at the school than a lot of the students. So that's something to think about. The kids in the chapter are expected to become elites, and how they do academically at the school matters, but the social aspects seem to matter more. What I want to know, going along those lines, was college an expectation for you? All of us have made it here, but what I didn't realize until coming to college was that not everyone was just assumed to go. I'm going to give you a second here to answer. For me, the expectation at my school was the majority of people would go to colleges. However, I know for some people, they're the first in their family or one of few at their schools. Going along the lines of the last question, the kids in the book seem to need more skill in finessing social situations as future elites than academically. Do you think that it is just elites that have to learn how to socially finesse situations? For them, it falls under cultural capital. Cultural capital is an idea of where you're from, gives you more of a leg up, is part of privilege. So what do you think? Do you think it is equally as important? Or do you think people get a different set of skills depending on where they're from and what class they're from? Let me know. I'll give you a chance to pause here. Obviously, everyone's family instills a different type of expectation and lifestyle into them. For the elites, for the kids who come from elite families, the book says that it's more obvious that they do. They have a better knowledge of how to finesse situations, informal and informal. The kid who came from a less wealthy family, from a poor family, tended to stand out, not because he wasn't polite or a good person, but because he was actually too polite. It showed that he was not brought up in the same expectations. In an ideal world, America would strive for equality, but as a culture, we strive for possibility. The idea that anyone can come here and be anything they want is what the kids were taught at this school. is that everything is earned. It's the idea that you get what you earn rather than things being given to you. And so leading off that, I wanted to talk about how the idea of privilege works, and I thought there was a quote in the book that was really good. So if you want to take a second, you can pause here and get to page 73, and I'll just read it real quick. It says, "Though it seems appropriate that the world gives itself to them, they simultaneously believe that their place among the chosen few is something that has not been given to them, but rather is something that they have earned." In other words, the idea of being privileged seems to make them uncomfortable, and they still want to feel like they have worked for things. Why do you think this is? And why in general do you think privilege is such a complex thing that makes people uncomfortable? Because it does a lot of times. My personal opinion is that privilege is something that needs to be acknowledged and addressed without being a deciding factor in a person's value. Because ultimately, I believe it's a combination of what you are given to start out with in life versus what you work for. Everyone has a chance to build on their position. It's just, where did you start and how far are you actually able to build based on it? I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I hope you have a good day. There should be a list of questions down below with some other page numbers that correlated to them. And if you want, you can totally check those out. Thank you so much, and have a good one.